So good morning. Today we will discuss charge. Uh, Charge or the charges I can see in section 100 is a part of your syllabus. However, it has been included in the syllabus of in the mortgage to tell you the difference between charge and the mortgage. So basically, the purpose would be to understand the base difference between charges and the mortgage. However, before we understand the difference, it would be pertinent to understand the meaning of charges itself. So we will go through this particular section 100 of Transfer of Property Act and we'll see what happens. So while reading this, we can see where immovable property of one person is by act of parties or operation of law made security for the payment of the another. So immovable property of one person is made security for the payment of money to another. The transaction does not amount to mortgage and the later person is said to have a charge on the property. Okay? Moving further, and all the provisions herein before contained which apply to a simple mortgage shall so far as may be apply to such charge. All right, for now we will stick with this particular first paragraph. So what does it say? It says whenever a charge is created for the payment of money or for the security for the payment of money to another person. So if the owner has some encumbrances in terms of money, it is possible that he may have entered into an agreement with other parties, or these encumbrances must have been occurred due to operation of law. So whenever such encumbrances or the payment of money is expected out of the property, and the property is made security for that purpose, then it is called charge. So in simple words, a charge is created for securing the recovery of some money. Right? It is as simple as that. So as you can see, it says when a movable property of one person is by act of the parties or by operation of law is made security for the payment of money. So there are two ways a charge can be created, right? I hope you are clear with the meaning. Meaning is as simple as that. Charge is nothing but security for the recovery of some money which have been encumbered upon the owner of the property. That's it. So whether this encumbrances has been created by the act of the parties or by the operation of law, that's a different thing. So charge can be created, and you can see in the paragraph 1 itself, by the act of the parties and by operation of law. So how a charge is created by the act of the parties? Just you all must be knowing when you rent a house in a society or buy a flat in a society, you ready to pay you agree to pay the maintenance allowances, right? That maintenance allowances is nothing but encumbrances on the property which the parties decided or agreed to pay to the society itself. So this is the maintenance allowance is one of the example. Another example would be, imagine a situation that I receive my ancestral property by way of inheritance, and I enter into an agreement with my sister that I shall pay rupees 10,000 per annum to her out of the income generated from this ancestral property. So what is happening here? I'm getting all the ancestral property through inheritance. However, I'm entering into a separate agreement with my sister saying whatever income shall be generated from this ancestral property, I shall pay her rupees 10,000 per annum. So what is this I'm creating here? I'm creating a charge on the property, and that charge would be rupees 10,000 in this in this current example. So these type of charges can be created by way of act of the parties. Now, what are the operation of law? How charge can be created by operation of law? So, charge by operation of law basically results due to some legal obligation, right? So, in other words, charges under some of the provisions of either under TPA or any other act which have been created upon the owner or the persons who have some interest in the property. For example, Section 55(4) Clause B Section 55 Clause 4 subclause B is creates charge for the unpaid vendee. So when the house is transferred or ownership is transferred to the vendee before the payment has been made, Section 54 Clause 4B of TPA creates a charge on that vendee who has not paid the money. Similarly, there is another section, Section 73 of the TPA, which creates a charge on the property uh, for the mortgagee who is to receive his mortgage money by selling of the property through courts. So these are the examples which create charge, and since these are the statutory provisions, these are called by the operation of law, or charges created by operation of law. Or any other decree made by court can also be considered as a charge created out of law. So charge can be created by both ways, by the act of the parties and by operation of law. Moving further, and the transaction does not amount to mortgage. So what do we mean here? Always remember, in mortgage you transfer an interest in favor of mortgagee. However, in charge there is no transfer of any interest, right? So technically, this is the one of the most important difference between the charge and the mortgage. That in mortgage there is a transfer of interest, and in charge there is no transfer of interest. What are the other main differences? As you can see here, sections are anyway clear. There is no transfer of interest. There is transfer of interest in movable property to the mortgagee. Charge is created either by act of the parties or by operation of law. Mortgage is created only by act of the parties. Charge can be in perpetuity and not capable of redemption. Mortgage may be a fixed term, and you already know that it is always redeemable. Charge is the creation of right of payment out of the specified property. Mortgage is right in rem, which is available against the world. Why? Because it is the owner or the mortgager who decides what to do with the property, and the world at large should not interfere with that particular right. Moving further, it need not be in written form. However, when in written form, registration is necessary when the value of non-testamentary instrument or charge deed is more than ₹100. Similarly, registration is necessary or not depends on the nature of the mortgage. As you are aware that mortgage by deposit of title deeds, registration is not necessary at all. So basically it depends on the nature of the mortgage. And the last part is, and all of the provisions herein before contained which apply to a simple mortgage shall so far as may be apply to such charge. So remember, in simple mortgage, mortgagee had the right to go to the court for selling of the property. Similarly, in charge as well, charge holder can go to the court for recovery of money for selling of the property or against the property. So those provisions which apply to simple mortgage shall also apply to charge. I hope this is clear to you. Now we shall move on to the proviso part, which basically talks about two exceptions. What are the two exceptions? The first is, nothing in this section shall apply to charge of a trustee on the trust property for expenses properly incurred in the execution of his trust. So whenever a charge is created by creating a trust, a charge is created by creating a trust. In that situation, a trust cannot be used for the payment of the charge. Let's understand this by example. A created charge in favor of B of his property created trust, and B was the trustee. This trust was created to take care of A's grandchild, which is GC here. A created a trust, made B the trustee of this trust, and for the welfare or the taking care of his grandchildren. So A has created a trust. So the charge is created on the property on the trust. This first part says this particular trust cannot be sold to recover the charge on the property. This is the exception. However, we say that if it applies to simple mortgage, whatever provisions apply to simple mortgage also applicable to charge. In normal circumstances, charge holder can go to the court for selling of the property to recover the money. However, when a charge is created for a trust, the trust cannot be sold to recover the charge. This is one of the exceptions. Second part is, and save as otherwise expressly provided by any law for the time being in force, no charge shall be enforced against any person in the hands of a person to whom such property has been transferred for the consideration and without notice of the charge. If a person buys a house, so A is the owner of house, he sells this house to B. B was not aware that there was a charge on the property, right? So B is without notice of the charge, right? A sold the house to B. There was a huge charge on the property or this house. B had no notice of the charge on this property, so B is without any notice of the charge. Though B may have made inquiries, proper inquiries, but he did not get to know that if there is any charge on the property. So ultimately, charge holder cannot go against B because B is a bona fide transferee and he had no knowledge of this charge. He will have to go against A only. So you can see here it is written, no charge shall be enforced against any property in the hands of a person without notice of the charge, right? So no charge can be enforced against the property in the hands of a person who had no knowledge of the charge. This is the second exception. If the transferee is a bona fide transferee or is without notice of the charge, in that situation, charge cannot be enforced against his property or his newly bought property as such. So this is the second difference. So this is the overall understanding of the charge. I hope these points are clear to all of you, the difference, meaning, and how charge is created and the exceptions which are provided in the provision. Thank you.